so shocked and still wept for the children and their relatives who has been trafficked away. Knowingly, we are also wept and we are feeling uncomfortable to this issue. We are gathering here today, Lord God, trying to work in your ministry of caring and loving each other. We call up on your Holy Spirit to build and strengthen this idea of prevent trafficking among African and the entire world. God be with us. Protect those who have been trafficked already. God, you know where they are, and you know their problems and what they need. God be with them where they are. We do this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen.
Thank you very much, Pastor, for those wise words and for blessing our gatherings. Honorable Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwa, the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation. Honorable Doreen Sioka, the Minister of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare. Honorable Valde Natangwende Vashia, the Governor of Angolan Region. Honorable Erickson Dawanifa, the Chairperson of Angolan Regional Council. Honorable Esther Ndatala Ngidimbwa, the Councillor of Oshikango Constituency. His Worship Darius Shalukeni, Mayor of Helauna Fidi Town, our host. Honorable Regional and Local Authority Councillors present. Lieutenant General Joseph Shikongo, Inspector of Namibian Police. Advocate Martha Imalwa, Prosecutor General. Ambassador Jovelina Imperial Ikosta, Angolan Ambassador to Namibia, and all other ambassadors present. Ms. Jane Marie Ongolo, Regional Representative of UNODC Southern Africa. Ms. Florence Tumbeko, IOM Head of Office in Namibia. Members of the Diplomatic Corps, traditional leaders present, and church leaders present, chief regional officers present, directors present, and other government officials, men and women in uniform, members of the media, young people, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of us. Good morning. Thank you. My name is Martha Mbombo. I am the Executive Director of the Ministry of Gender Equality and Poverty Eradication. I will be directing the proceedings together with my co-director, Mr. Philippus Shilongo, the Chief Regional Officer of Angolan Region. I trust that we all have the program, and for the sake of the time, I will not go through the program one by one, so we will follow the program as it was set up. So with that, I would like to call to the podium His Worship Darius Shalukeni, the mayor of Hello Nafidi Town, to welcome us into Hello Nafidi Town. Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Director of the proceeding, Ms. Martha Mbombo, Executive Director of the Ministry of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication, Social Welfare, Mr. Philip Silongo, Chief Regional Officer, Angolan Regional Councils, Nobu Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, on her absentia, Nobu Valde Natangwe Ndevashia, the Regional Governor of Angolan Region, Nobu Erickson Ndawanifwa, Chairperson of Angolan Regional Councils, on his absentia, Honorable Esther Ndatala Ngitimbwa, Councillor responsible for Oshikango constituency where we are, all Honorable Regional Council present, Ambassador Joverine Imbaril Icosta, Angolan Ambassador to Namibia, Ms. Jane Marie Angol, Regional Representative, UNODC, Southern Africa, represented by Mr. Brain Porio, Law Enforcement Expert, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, Ms. Florence Situmbeko, Head Office, IOM, Advocate Martha Imarwa, Prosecutor General, Lieutenant General Joseph Shimwelao Shikongo, represented by Deputy Commissioner Amakari, Executive Director of different ministry present, all local authority present, all chief executive officers present, esteemed traditional leaders and church leaders present here today, senior and junior government officials present, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you all. Good afternoon. Thank you. I am very privileged to stand before you and welcome you all, distinguished invited guests, in your respective capacity to this very dynamic town of Hello Nafidi. We are pleased to host this year commemoration of the World Days Against Trafficking in Persons, a day that is annually commemorated on the 30th July globally. Director of the proceeding, trafficking in persons is a serious crime, and the Hello Nafidi towns is not immune to this criminal offense. Hence, we are grateful that the commemoration is taking place here in Hello Nafidi, as we need to sensitize the public about human trafficking. I would like to specifically welcome Honorable Minister Doreen Sioka among us, the Minister for Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication, Social Welfare, and all regional and local authority present here. Ambassador Joverin Icosta, Angolan Ambassador to Namibia, members of diplomatic corps, Advocate Martha Imarwa, the Prosecutor General, your presence here today shows your commitment to the fighting against trafficking in persons. I will fail in my duty if I did not acknowledge the presence of our development partner, Ms. Jean-Marie Angol, whom I say represented by Mr. Brian Porio. Ladies and gentlemen, Director of the proceeding, we are delighted once again. Thank you for making time from your busy schedule to be with us today. Your presence here all is highly appreciated to us. With those few remarks, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to welcome you all once again to these commemorations, and I urge you to support the local economy, specifically that of Angolan region and Elauna Fiti. I wish you all a fruitful deliberations and a very eventful stays in your time in our region, and in particular in Elauna Fiti as a town. For as long as you are here in Elauna Fiti and before you exit the border, every person you are going to meet from here, once you finish greeting that person, tell that person, and I quote, every victim of trafficking, leave no one behind. For today, as long as you are within the border of Elauna Fiti, before you do not exit the border of Elauna Fiti, whoever you meet, tell that person, every victim of trafficking, leave no one behind. That includes that particular person that you are going to tell. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, for welcoming us to Elauna Fiti. Now we can talk freely about trafficking in person because we feel welcomed. I just want to emphasize that please spend your money here before you leave. Support Elauna Fiti town. It's an upcoming town. We should support the town and the business people of Elauna Fiti. So next on our program is a statement by Ms. Florence Situmbeko, the head of Office of International Organization for Migration. As we are all aware, preventing and responding to trafficking in person is a multi-stakeholder effort. So that's why, as you see our program, is full of our stakeholders that are also working with us in this in fighting trafficking in person. She has been recorded, and she is standing on the protocols that were established already. So we are going to just listen to her message. So colleagues, can you play the recording?
It is indeed a great honor and privilege for me to address all of you today at this event, the commemoration of the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, on behalf of the International Organization for Migration, IOM. First of all, allow me to apologize for not attending this important event in person. Allow me also to congratulate the government of the Republic of Namibia, and especially the Ministry of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare, for its achievement in drafting the National Plan of Action on combating trafficking in persons. It is once again an indication that there is high-level commitment in combating this social evil in Namibia. As this plan aims to ensure effective implementation of the Combating of Trafficking in Persons Act. Director of Proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, I would very much like to thank the United States government for their generous support to respond to trafficking in persons and ensure justice and protection for all victims of trafficking. Through their support and through the IOM Emergency Fund, IOM Namibia was able to support the potential victims of trafficking that were recently identified on 2 vessels with direct assistance and safe return to their respective countries. Director of Proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, furthermore, I also would like to thank all other government institutions, civil society organizations, education institutions, UN agencies, especially UNODC, that are part of the National Coordinating Body on Trafficking in Persons in Namibia, and many of you who are present here today for your great cooperation, collaboration, and tireless efforts to combat trafficking in persons in Namibia. Director of Proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, as we all know that in 2013, the member states adopted the resolution and designated 30th July as the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. And the purpose for this day is to raise awareness of the situation of human trafficking for the promotion and protection of their rights. With the world currently battling with a number of social issues, amongst others the effects of the global pandemic on the country's economy, it is important that we remain cognizant of the trafficking in persons pandemic, which is a scourge that we need to strive to eradicate in Namibia. Director of Proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, Namibia joins the rest of the global community to commemorate this day under the theme, Reach Every Victim, Leaving No One Behind. And the National Plan of Action on combating trafficking in persons that is being launched on this day is a vital tool which will enable all relevant stakeholders and partners to reflect on what has been accomplished thus far to combat trafficking in persons in Namibia, and for us to assess the latest challenges that lie ahead of us in order to ensure that our joint interventions does not leave anyone behind. Through our joint efforts, we are once again urged to reach, identify, protect, properly refer, properly return, and reintegrate all victims of trafficking to their respective communities or countries of origin. Director of Proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, IOM as a UN migration agency has a mandate to promote humane, orderly migration through the provisions of services to governments and migrants, including victims of trafficking. The approach on all IOM's counter-trafficking activities is based on 3 principles, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1, respect for human rights. Number 2, looking into the physical, mental, and social well-being of the individual, his or her community. And thirdly, sustainability through institutional capacity building of governments and civil society. The approach on IOM's intervention is also based on the following sustainable development goals. namely 5.2, 8.7, 10.7, 16.2, which is end abuse, exploitation, trafficking, and all forms of violence against torture and children. Director of Proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, the global community has long condemned the abhorrent practice of trafficking in persons, and in many countries, including the Republic of Namibia, have taken steps to strengthen their efforts to prevent and prosecute trafficking in persons and to protect its victims. While great strides have been made, ladies and gentlemen, much more remains to be done as with other crimes. Addressing the demand side of trafficking, for example, has proven particularly challenging. Even identifying persons who have been trafficked has proven to be challenging. And despite the laudable significant increase in anti-trafficking laws in many countries, ladies and gentlemen, there are still far too few successful prosecutions of traffickers. Ladies and gentlemen, the global anti-trafficking efforts by countries, international organizations, and non-governmental organizations have used the 4Ps paradigm of prosecution, protection, prevention, and partnership that was established by the 2010 United Nations Global Plan of Action to combat trafficking in persons. Despite all these efforts, there is still a need for a reflection if our interventions are to prove effective. Ladies and gentlemen, Director of Proceedings, the eradication of trafficking requires greater focus on social justice issues such as inequality and discrimination and labor migration opportunities. This is all outlined in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, in particular Target 10.7, which seeks to facilitate a safe, orderly, regular, and responsible migration. As we are raising awareness on human trafficking, it is also of utmost importance that we promote safe alternatives for migration. Ladies and gentlemen, in more than 30 years of working with victims of trafficking globally, IIM is aware that the majority of victims of trafficking needs more than basic humanitarian assistance, temporary status regularization, and measures to limit their direct interaction with the accused during trial. Most victims want to be able to work, to earn an income, to support their families back home, especially in these economic trying times, and to be compensated for their work. Ladies and gentlemen, efforts to prosecute the criminals behind trafficking networks have had their challenges, and additional approaches to secure justice for victims must be sought. Most investment is needed to learn from anti-trafficking intervention, to research on the current trends, to inform future anti-trafficking responses. In addition, anti-trafficking actors, governmental and non-governmental alike, should find ways to overcome obstacles around sharing data within a framework of strict confidentiality and appropriate safeguards to protect individuals' personal data. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, it is crucial for all of us as different stakeholders and partners to join our efforts in sensitizing the general public on trafficking in persons, to enable them to identify potential victims of trafficking, or for them to become vigilant in informing authorities or decrease the utilization of products or services that may be linked to trafficking in persons networks. Ladies and gentlemen, the International Organization for Migration, IOM, with its partners, is once again reaffirming its commitment to continue to support the government of the Republic of Namibia and the partners in taking forward initiatives in combating trafficking in persons in Namibia. Remember, anyone can fall victim of trafficking, but through our collaborative efforts, we can beat this scourge. It begins with me. It also begins with you. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Florence. I know you are following us online. For your commitment to support us as government, as a country, in the fight and prevention of trafficking in person. Let's also give a round of applause to His Worship Darius Shalukeni for welcoming us. We didn't give him a round of applause. Thank you. I just want to inform the gathering here and to inform the nation that we are live on NBC. You can follow us on NBC digital or Facebook or Instagram. Yeah, we are live. Next on our program is a statement by Ms. Jane Marie Ongolo, the regional representative of UNODC. Ms. Jane, please come to the podium. My apology. Here it is written Ms. Jane.
Sorry, Brian Pollia from the United Nations office. I'm representing her today.
Okay, Brian?
Pollia.
Okay. So Ms. Jane Mariongolo is represented by Mr. Brian Pollia. Thank you.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, Madam Martha Mbombo, guest of honor, keynote speaker, Honorable Doreen Sioka, Minister of Gender and Equality, Poverty and Eradication, and Social Welfare. Please allow me this opportunity to write on the protocols that have already been observed this morning. A very good morning to all of you. I am extremely grateful that I have the opportunity to address you on this momentous occasion, the commemoration of the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons and the launch of the National Plan of Action on Trafficking in Persons. May I also acknowledge the presence of Honorable Doreen Sioka, Minister of Gender, Equality, Poverty Eradication and Child Welfare. We sincerely thank you for sacrificing precious time and for your leadership and guidance in the development of the National Action Plan. I must use this opportunity to thank you for strong partnership that exists between the Republic of Namibia and the UNODC. Guest of honor, distinguished guests, our theme for this year's World Day Against Trafficking in Persons is reach every victim of trafficking, leave no one behind. As we are quite aware that the use and the abuse of technology by perpetrators in this crime is of a great concern. Governments, businesses, and the public need to be aware of the powerful trafficking threats posed by technology and act quickly to protect themselves, identify high-risk behavior and vulnerable groups, and develop the capacity within their law enforcement agencies to address this new modus operandi. At the same time, we must dedicate resources and attention to leverage technology to detect, rescue, and support victims and strengthen our capability to prosecute traffickers. Trafficking in persons and smuggling of migrants pose great threat to the national and regional peace, stability, integration, and development. In fact, trafficking in persons and smuggling of migrants are synonymous with multidimensional threats to humanity, which include, amongst others, deprivation of human rights and freedoms, global health risks, promoting organized crimes, undermining of global safety and security. To make matters worse, human trafficking and smuggling of migrants have devastating impact on individual victims who often suffer physical and emotional abuse, rape, threats against self and family, passport theft, and even death. It is further disheartening to note that trafficking in persons and smuggling of migrants have been commercialized and transformed into lucrative illicit business with a well-established value chain which include recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, and sexual and/or labor exploitation. The latest statistics indicate that it is a $160 billion business. These crimes have taken root in our society, and the challenge is upon us to unite and pool our resources and expertise to become more effective in the fight against TIP. In its simplest form, we are talking about people who sell people. Victims who are exploited by human traffickers continue to be detained and prosecuted for offenses that they are made to commit by their traffickers. We need to promptly recognize victims of crime, and victims should be provided with the access to necessary support and protection services. This assistance should not be conditional on their participation in criminal proceedings. The root cause of trafficking in persons and smuggling of migrants are varied, interconnected, and complex. We need to target and holistically address them and identify the push and pull factors. These enablers are inclusive of poverty, globalization, corruption, restrictive immigration, and labor laws. Guest of honor, distinguished delegates, the UNODC is pleased to have partnered with and supported the development of the National Plan of Action in Trafficking in Persons through our UNODC colleague, Dr. Baraza. UNODC is committed to supporting the implementation of the National Plan of Action, as this is a huge step forward in combating crime linked to TIP. We believe this plan will enhance a coordinated and efficient response to TIP in the Republic of Namibia. The efforts by the Republic of Namibia is highly commendable and is a clear indication that combating of TIP is a national priority. It is envisaged that the effective implementation of the main objectives of the National Plan of Action will afford victims of trafficking in persons protection from perpetrators and the ability to access support through the various mechanisms available to them. It will also help to enhance collaboration between government and key stakeholders in the implementation of the Combating of Trafficking in Persons Act 1 of 2018 of the Republic of Namibia. I want to reiterate the gratitude of UNODC to the Republic of Namibia. Under your leadership as the chairperson of SAPCO, we have held several training sessions that empowered frontline officers, not just in Namibia, but within the region. The focus has been on an interagency approach, where officers are trained in using a multi-agency approach to address this threat. I just arrived from a training session where we invited the prosecutors, immigration officers, and police to attend a TIP Train the Trainer course, so all agencies understand the role of each other, and 15 of the 16 SADC member states attended this training session. I would like to leave you with these statistics. According to UNODC's 2020 Global Report on Trafficking in Persons, which draws on data from 148 countries, trafficking in women and girls for the purpose of sexual exploitation continues to be the most detected form of crime, while trafficking for forced labor, mostly of men and boys, is on the rise. Children make up one-third of all detected victims. July is also a month dedicated to the great Nelson Mandela. I would like to leave you with a quote by him. To deny people their human rights is to challenge their humanity. I thank you for your kind attention. Merci beaucoup. Muito obrigada. Asante sana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brian. Can we give a round of applause to Mr. Brian again? Thank you for that powerful statement, really indicating the whole chain of how trafficking is happening. I am sure we are going to make sure that the statements are translated and are played on NBC in the local language, because they have very important information that our people need to hear. And thank you for reminding us also that technology is good, but it can also be risky. It can be used by traffickers, especially targeting our young people and women. So we appreciate your statement. Thank you very much. So next we have a performance by Oshikango Combined School. Oshikango Combined School, can you please come forth with your performance? Oshikango, where are we? Is Oshikango here? No? Okay, please move, young people. You can come even somewhere here in the middle, so that we appreciate your performance. Come here. What a wonderful performance. Come here, the young one, the little one. My goodness, let me give you a hug. Who has taught him how to play? Wawama kuje? Kuje? Oh, no. Oh, yeah? Congratulations. That's what we want. We want our children to be happy, to be free. We don't want our children to be stolen and to be sold. So, this is wonderful. I tell you, I can challenge anyone, you will not play like this boy here. No one. So thank you very much, Shimwaku Combined School, and keep the culture going. That is a good culture. So let's give them another round of applause. Oh, memi amkuirire ngona ndeno tate tamkuirire. Uno navadana now. Oh, tate? Yeah. Okay. So we'll proceed with our program with a statement by His Excellency Ambassador Jovelina Imperial Acosta, Angolan Ambassador to the Republic of Namibia. Please come to the podium.
Muito obrigada. Thank you, Director of Proceeding, Honorable Doreen Sioka, Minister of Gender Equality, Poverty, Eradication, and Social Welfare, Honorable Walde Ndewashiwa, Governor of Anguena Region, Excellencies, members of the Diplomat Corps, representatives of international and regional organizations, all protocol established, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me, on behalf of my government, to start by thanking the government of the Republic of Namibia for inviting me to attend and express few words in this very important event. The scourge of human trafficking is a challenge that affects all peoples and governments with no exception. The transnational dimension of the problem requires government to strengthen cooperation to face the challenges posed by organized criminal organizations which motivate into earning his profit, insist on perpetuating acts of slavery and commodification of human lives. The United Nations Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime, adopted by General Assembly in 2000, is the main international instrument for fighting against transnational organized crime. In 2003, the Protocol to Prevent, Suppress, and Punish Trafficking Persons, especially women and children, was added to supplement the convention. This protocol constitutes the first legally binding international instrument which provides for a consensual definition of trafficking related to sexual exploitation, forced labor, and slavery. In this SADC sub-region in which we are located, there has been a growing concern in regard to this evil. In fact, the event that we are witnessing today is a clear proof of this due to the full adherence of our states of the United Nations Convention Against Transnational Crime, as well as the protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking persons, especially women and children. At the level of our countries, we have witnessed the adoption of energetic measures against transnational organized crime embodied in the development of legislation against criminal association, money laundering, corruption, impunity, and obstruction of justice. Our countries have also committed themselves to strengthen the technical capabilities of our police force, as well as to enhance cooperation between them. The republics of Namibia, of Angola and Namibia, give the long shared common border, are not exempted from such phenomena and have been used as a channel by criminals. Therefore, strengthening cooperation and the partnership is very important to fighting organized crime in the region. The two governments signed an agreement on security and public order, which provides the legal framework for solid cooperation in the joint fight against organized crime in general and trafficking humans in particular. This agreement, which includes technical advice and exchange of policy information, focus on aspects with repercussions to the fighting against trafficking in human beings, namely illegal migration, violent crimes against human life, health, freedom, and dignity, corruption and organized crime, as well as trafficking in human beings for forced labor and or sexual exploitation. We would also like to allude to the protocol of the cooperation on police matters based on the agreement signed between the two governments in matters of security and public order. These instruments constitute a base for fruitful cooperation in combat the scourge of trafficking in human beings. Based on the existing cooperation instruments in the national legislation of our respective countries, as well as the reference mechanism and procedures, we must continue to deepen the analysis of migratory flux between us related to trafficking of human beings as to combating the scourge effectively between our countries. Traffickers target vulnerable people. International crisis, conflicts, and climate change increase the risk for human trafficking. Displacement and socioeconomic inequalities affect millions of people around the world and make them more vulnerable to trafficking. In order to fight against this evil, it is indispensable to raise awareness in the society and in particular among the most vulnerable communities. We need to increase investment in the communities to improve the opportunities for the people to improve themselves, the levels of employment and unemployability, access to education and health, while at the same time we must redouble our attention to identifying and supporting victims of human trafficking, as well as severely punish offenders. Finally, I would like to congratulate the Namibian authorities for choosing this important date as the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons approaches to launch the National Action Plan to combat trafficking in persons, in the assurance that the actions contained in this plan will serve to effectively help in the fight against human trafficking, thus promoting peace, stability, security, and prosperity for the peoples of our countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for that rich statement and for reminding us that the two governments are still implementing the agreement that they have signed. Can we give the ambassador another round of applause, please? Ya tandiganja ngombiri ipopio inji taivuru kutorokwa paife otaika torokwa etaitura moradio maro oshipopua shoshinene otashika torokwa oshipopua shisha honorable Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwa oshotwa ningira tashika torokwa tatuganja ngombiri maro otaika torokwa etaitura moradio tuviti kwa horike yaro. Thank you. The next statement is by our Prosecutor General, Advocate Martha Imalwa, my namesake. Mbushe, please come to the podium.
Honorable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Honorable Netumbo Ndaitwa in absentia, Honorable Minister of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare, Honorable Doreen Shioka, Honorable Governor of Angwena Region, Valde de Vashia, Honorable Mayor of Elao Nafidi Town, His Worship the Mayor Darius Sharukeni. Allow me to stand on the protocols established and observed by the Director of Proceedings. I feel honored to have been again invited to attend and make a statement at this year's commemoration of the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. As it already has been indicated by the previous speakers, that the United Nations General Assembly in 2013 designated 30 July as the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. We are grateful to today again to commemorate that designated World Day Against Human Trafficking in Persons as an important day that reminds us to reflect on this modern slavery.
Trafficking in persons is a crime that thrives on violating the very human rights that are entrenched in our supreme law, the Namibian Constitution. The right to liberty, the right to dignity, the right not to be subjected to slavery, servitude, the right to be not to be subjected to forced labor, the right to move freely throughout Namibia, as well as the right not to be subjected to torture or to cruel or to inhuman or to degrading treatment or punishment. These are some of the rights compromised by the crime of trafficking in persons. Directors of proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, this year we commemorate this day at the boundary town of Oshikango. This is significant because bordering towns tend to be hotspots of this crime. People in the northern regions need to be aware that when they see young children from countries like Angola, DRC, or Zambia selling sweets and other goods in the streets, sometimes these children may be victims of trafficking in persons and are being exploited as vending sellers. It is important for awareness raising campaigns to be intensified so that the community becomes aware of the crime of trafficking in persons and what to look out for in order to identify the victims. Traffickings are members of the community, and victims are exploited within such communities. That being the case, as a nation, we can only win the fight against trafficking in persons if communities are aware of what trafficking in persons entails and work hand in hand with law enforcement agencies. It is not difficult to identify a crime of trafficking in persons. Some of what members of the public need to know regarding this crime of trafficking in persons are such as examples which I'm going to give. You can get someone from a poor family, whether in Angola or within the community in Namibia, like in a poor area, for that person to do your domestic work. You keep that person and make him or her work long hours in the fields and at your home, and you don't pay them any money or pay them much less than the prescribed minimum wage. What you have done in terms of the Namibian laws is to recruit the victim, harbor him or her in your home. The fact that the victim is from a poor background makes him or her vulnerable, which is what the law calls means. Using the victim to work long hours in the fields and at your home is called exploitation by law. If you do what is described above, you have committed a crime of trafficking in persons. Sometimes the victims come to your home to look for work because of poverty. The fact that they came on their own is not an excuse if you receive them and then exploit them. The law says it is not an excuse to say that the person who is a victim of trafficking in persons agreed to be trafficked. I therefore want you to take note that this is what is sometimes is happening within our communities. If the victim is a child under the 18 years of age, it is child trafficking if you, for example, get that child from within Namibia or outside Namibia, or receive or harbor that child for the purposes of exploiting him or her for domestic work or other things like selling goods on your behalf. It doesn't matter that the parents of that child gave you the child and agreed for that child to do that work for you. There are other types of exploitation, for example, sexual exploitation. Some people think that trafficking in persons happens when the victim is from outside the country or is taken to another country. But as you can see from the example I gave you, an offender can be in Namibia and traffic a victim who is in Namibia within Namibia. There is no need for any borders to be crossed for this crime to happen. It is my sincere hope that this event will assist in raising awareness and that following it, the community will be motivated to alert the police where there is a suspicion that the crime of trafficking in persons has taken place. It is a well-known fact that the criminal justice system cannot succeed without the cooperation and assistance from members of the public, directors of the proceedings. For those of us in the criminal justice system, when we hear of a crime being committed, our focus is normally to have that crime investigated and investigations conclude collecting evidence from the complainant, that is statements or taking the complainants for medical examination, for pointing out, etc. The end goal is to have the offender arrested and prosecuted successfully. Where the offender is arrested, we focus then on prosecuting him or her. The victim is a witness who provides evidence in our case to prove the guilt of the offender. The ultimate goal is to have that offender punished. This is understandable because having the offender punished and in the process deterring like-minded persons is the aim of the criminal justice system. From 2015, when the first case of trafficking in persons in Namibia was successfully prosecuted, a total of 8 number of traffickers have been convicted and are currently serving their prisons in Namibian prisons. Since the first case of trafficking in persons was prosecuted, our coordinated efforts have seen the number of trafficking in persons cases that are detected and properly investigated improve tremendously. Currently, we have 29 cases with 56 accused persons pending before our courts. Director of Proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, this year we commemorate this special day under the theme, Reach Every Victim of Trafficking, Leave No One Behind. This year's theme is a motivation for us to focus on the human face behind the crime, the person whose rights have been violated, the victim. The victim is a person who has been subjected to exploitation, and their welfare must always be paramount. We have a good national referral mechanism which ensures that victims of this crime are taken care of from the time that they are discovered. It ensures that they are provided with psychosocial support and safe shelter. This referral mechanism needs to be implemented to ensure that we don't leave any victim behind. Director of Proceedings, there are circumstances where traffickers exploit victims for the commission of offenses, and such victims are apprehended for the offenses they will have committed. If investigations reveal that a victim committed a crime by virtue of being a victim of trafficking in persons, such a victim should be protected and not be prosecuted. My underline, not be prosecuted. Sometimes victims of trafficking in persons enter the country in contravention, especially of the Immigration Control Act. The focus should never be their illegal entry in the country. Fortunately, our law, the Combating of Trafficking in Persons Act of 2018, at Section 16, recognizes this fact and prohibits criminal prosecution of victims of trafficking in persons. Foreign victims who are found in the country without proper papers, their stay should be regularized in terms of the law. They should not be deported unlawfully. They should be protected. The Combating of Trafficking in Persons Act, at Section 14, imposes a duty on an immigration officer to issue a visitor's entry permit to a foreign victim, and it says that must be done despite provisions of the Immigration Control Act. If the victim is prepared to assist law enforcement agent, a temporary resident permit can be issued to them in terms of Section 15. Director of Proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, trafficking in persons is an ugly crime that we need to fight relentlessly. Traffickers must never feel safe in our country. Namibia is a country governed by the rule of law, and all Namibians and every person who enters Namibia must be free assured that they will receive protection in terms of our law. Proper treatment and protection of victims of this crime will encourage the victims to come forward and to assist law enforcement. Protection of victims who agree to assist law enforcement and prosecution must also be done during the time when they give evidence in court. The Criminal Procedure Act stipulates various measures for the protection of vulnerable witnesses during trial, and this must be invoked. When this happens, the criminal justice system will be able to achieve its ultimate goal of ensuring proper prosecution and punishment of offenders. It is pleasing for me to report that a lot has been done to assist and protect victims that are found in our country. In all these cases that have been successfully prosecuted, the victims were protected during the court process, and where they needed emotional support we support this, we sought the assistance or support person to sit with the victim during their testimony. Victims have also been protected as soon as they are detected. They are provided with shelter, food, medical, and psychosocial support regardless of their nationalities. Of significance, there are 44 suspected victims of different nationalities that were rescued from 2 big vessels at our harbor, Walvis Bay. It was not easy to provide protection and assistance to such a large number of suspected victims. However, through coordinated efforts, different governmental institutions as well as non-governmental institutions, shelter was secured for these people. The suspected victims were provided with medical, psychosocial assistance. They were provided with food and warm clothing. They were also assisted to get wages owed to them. When they wished to be rejoined with their families, they were assisted and safely repatriated to their respective countries. As the office that coordinated the efforts to rescue and assist these victims, I would be failing in my duties if I don't extend my sincere gratitude to the Namibian Police Force, Ministry of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare, Ministry of Health and Social Services, Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation, Ministry of Sports, Youth and National Service, and the Ministry of Labor, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation, Ministry of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security for the roles they played in rescuing the victims, taking care of them, and ensuring that they were assisted and they were safely repatriated back to their mother countries. I also wish to thank the International Organization for Migration for walking this journey with us and supporting us in our quest to make sure the victims were properly taken care of and repatriated to their countries of origin. Although representatives of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime were not physically on the ground, they also provided advice and support telephonically and through emails. I also wish to extend my gratitude to them. The embassies and higher commissions of different countries from where victims are nationals were of great assistance when they were approached by the representatives of MILCO regarding their nationals who were in our care. I wish to say to your excellencies present and in absentia, we are truly grateful for all your understanding and assistance. Director of Proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, protection of victims of this crime ensures that they get complete justice, which is not only the punishment of the offender, but also take care of their physical and psychological well-being. We will continue to ensure that victims are assisted and protected from the time that they are identified and during court proceedings. I urge everyone present here and absent who can hear what we are saying to play their role in ensuring that as a country we reach every victim of trafficking. Leave no one behind. Let us reach the victims in every corner of our beautiful country, the land of the brave. On the land, in water and airspace. Traffickers must know that they cannot exploit victims of trafficking in persons in the land of the brave with impunity. And I thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Advocate, for explaining to us in simple terms what trafficking in person means on a daily basis as we see it. And colleagues, as we have heard, Advocate thanking about 5 ministries, embassies, and the UN organization, it is a sign that we need to work together to identify traffickers and also to support victims. It's a multi-stakeholder effort. Advocate, your statement contains very important information that will be used to further create awareness in different languages. So we will need your statement so that we identify areas that we can tell the nation in their local vernaculars. So I will now hand over to my co-director to continue with the program, Mr. Philippus Shilongo, the Chief Regional Officer for Ohangwena Regional Council. Thank you very much for having me. Let's give a round of applause to Advocate Imara. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Edie. And I would like all of us to give another round of applause to the last speaker. Yes, we have some very few key words that I would like to highlight here. The unlawfulness when it comes to this whole process of trafficking, the coercive nature, modern slavery, sexual exploitation, crime, and many others. But I have also heard people saying, "Katu diteko na tufatululirwe moshuambu." Pa ukupyelela otuliapa okudimbuluka noku yanje fimaneko o kefikwolo laulikwapo iwana yangana kucha o 30 ya July opo pakale tuna efikwelilo nena tali celebrating kwa munyuni ile miwana ile member state ododo United Nations omo Namibia na yakwaterwamu openane oipapiwa ya popiwa nale itatuke ifatulula nana aishe filufilu kakele o director o aja ko alita popsa pa me malto tati o ipopiwa hii ote ikafatuluwana wanale moshuambo kakele kunena alio atukanje ike efatululo loshipopiwa shimwe ashike osho shompopya fimana wefiku osho tashikanjwa konima ngenge ompopya popi moshingirisa se atukeshipopya nena wali moshuambo pa ukupilelo ndala ashike ngo kupopya uchavavali ompopya aja kokulika pa kucha victim ile ovanu anovo tavekeli hanga vakwatwapo nonkalo watu popi vakwatwapo ano shiyeli paveta vepe eidha vakapewa iilonga nde takalongifwa iilonga iheshi nana hayo ile pamwe vakaiwe navo moihulo nosho osho oshiima shakeelelwa koveta ya Namibia. Okwaulikayo apa kutya elalakano leli kutya keshe onuno otahangika akwatwapo ndee teetwa mo Namibia okwahala elongelo kumwe kutya noolo polifi iloolo vakwashiwana aveshe na ovanhu ovo elalakano lavo inaapumbwa okutata oile vashunifwe koilongo okuvadja nde ovapumbwa okwaamenwa tavadulu kupewa apa taadulu kukala ano nlele taapewa iikulya taapewa yo omakwafo anyika opaunamiti opo ano unu wavo ukalekwepo lela nawa shaashi okuya kwavo omu itakutiwa ngeno anu veli vakelamo nde otakuti ovanhu veetwamo pamulando weimbulumuna ile weimbuluma oyo yalongekidikikikika ya okwapopya yo shimwe apa kutya okweipena ovanhu veli 44 veetwa moshilongo omu veendela mosikepa taayelukapo mbaye ya ovanhu ovo ovakapewa ngoo nomayakulo ngaashi nana atongiwa iikulya opapa taadulu kukala fiyo taakashunifwa kondje yiilongo okuvadja ya papa ohupyo kwayandjalela kutya otapandula ministry odo atofamo unene ngaashi oministry yovaneilonga, ministry yuundjolowele, oministry eiyetukaleka apanena yo gender, oministry yiikwameni yoshilongo nosho osho yo polifi opo yeshi vakwafela nombelewa yaye opo vanhu ava pamwe no vakalelipo veiwana ile voilongo ano ambassador twedituna ovakwafela opo ovanhu ava vali 44 vashunifwe nombili koilongo yavo okukweivadja ongeno oteindilepo ohupilela kutya natukaleni ano tuyanjeni eyambidido nekwafelo opo keshe outeki hanga ile toka mona kutya ne pamwe okaana ngoke needula dili meni leedula 18 takalongifwa iilonga okaana ako okapumbwa eameno inakapumbwa okukala takalongifwa nomikalo dili ngaho ongene otwateelelwe nyatu shenye oshiwana tukaleni atulopoteni oinima yoludjo olweeli hitting the ground running. I would like now to give the floor to the Nampol Policy Band to give us an item, and then we continue with our program. Nampol.
Thank you very much. Our Deputy Prime Minister and our Minister of International Relations, I would love to ask your permission to chant a little bit with the gathering. Our Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, may you grant me that permission to chant with the gathering on crime-related issue that we need to do with the gathering here. Before we sing our song, the song that is talking about Namibia is our pride, Namibia is our glory, and Namibia is our love. So let's stop trafficking. Omuditenge, ondala nekucha, oandipule pitikilo, omangi na twimbo eimbiro lilalandulako, watu aipule pitikilo opo tufikameni, nda tutoitoina na tuli ominge no nonkalo o trafficking. Omuditeko, o permission ayandi pulane ku our Deputy Prime Minister of the Republic of Namibia, Honorable Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah. Gengo shapiti kwa watu fikamenine. Nda tuti stop trafficking, then we say now. okay, atunyanya. Omutiteko. Kamutitenge. Natufikame nya tusheni kakereka kulunu. Unene tovanyasha. Unene tovanyasha. Gengo ndati. Stop trafficking. Tanti now. Now. Stop trafficking.
Now.
Stop trafficking.
Now.
Stop trafficking.
Now.
Stop trafficking.
Now.
Stop trafficking. Down trafficking. Down trafficking. Iyalo na pio makopo atukaimba na imbilo.
Stop abuse, drug dealers, criminals, police, criminals, mapokola.
Namibia, our motherland. Namibia, our pride. Namibia, land of the brave. Namibia, our country. Namibia, our motherland. Namibia, our pride. Namibia, land of the brave.
The Namibian police force is to deliver quality law enforcement service to the nation. The Namibian police force is to deliver quality law enforcement service to the nation.
What we say, excellent policy for excellent Namibia, our motherland. What we say, excellent policy for excellent Namibia, our motherland. Namibia, our country. Namibia, our motherland. Namibia, our pride. Namibia, land of the brave.
Namibia, our country. Namibia, our motherland. Namibia, our pride. Namibia, land of the brave. Fight crime, crime. Stop abuse, abuse. Drug dealers, dealers, criminals, criminals, Mabokola. Oyo kiango ebe nampo benda. Wamake, wamake. Napuyo makopo. Mama, cheche, 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 mama. Mama, 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 daddy, daddy, stop trafficking. Yeah. Mama, Simba, mama, mama, Simba, nyoda, mama, Simba, nyoda, mama, Simba, nyoda, mama, Simba, nyoda. Wamake, 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 beat, 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 number bend, beat, 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 number queen, bendu, ale bendu, mama benduga, ale benduga, mama benduga, ale benduga, mama nyat bendu, ale benduga. Onja tu akasmando inayalo nuta traffickinga onjato 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 stop trafficking. Ale nyada 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 na polope aya nyada 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 yalula na ale nyada 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 yalula na ye. Stop trafficking. Allez, stop trafficking. Stop trafficking. Allez, stop trafficking. Stop trafficking. Allez, stop trafficking. Mama, stop trafficking. Allez, stop trafficking. Say no, say no, say no. Mom, say no, say no, say no, say no. Mundende. Mundende, mundende, nyata, Simba, funguna magoro. Simba, nyata, funguna magoro. Funguna magoro. Wamake, wamake, Oshikango.
Thank you very much. That was a Namibian police band. Thank you.
Another omake for the Namibian police band. I think this police band has to really explain properly. We were thinking they are from either DRC or, you know, I was even thinking it was Kanda Bongo men. You deserve all the round of applause. Thank you. With that with that very nice song and the performance, I do not want to waste time because I thought the Lieutenant General Joseph Shimwela Oshikango, if he was here, he could have just come to the podium without being called. But nevertheless, allow me to invite to the podium Commissioner Amakali, my apology, to come and deliver the statement on behalf of the Lieutenant General Joseph Shimwela Oshikango, our Inspector of the Namibian Police.
Director of Ceremonies, Honorable Netumbo Nani Daitwa, Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, in absentia, Honorable Dolin Sioka, Member of Parliament, and the Minister of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare, Advocate Martha Imalwa, Prosecutor General of the Republic of Namibia, Honorable Valde Devashia, Governor of Ohangwena Region, Your Excellency Jovelyn Imperial E. Costa, Angolan Ambassador to the Republic of Namibia, and let me stick to protocol observed. Good morning. It is my distinct honor and privilege to have been accorded this opportunity to deliver a statement on behalf of the Inspector General of the Namibian Police Force, Lieutenant General Joseph Shimwela Oshikango, who could not be here today due to other equally important commitments. I will also share a brief overview on the status of trafficking in persons in Namibia, as well as commemorate this day under the theme, Reach Every Victim of Trafficking, Leave No One Behind. Trafficking in persons remains a heinous crime which involves grave violation of human rights, not only in Namibia, but across the world. It is one of the most lucrative criminal industries where huge amounts of money are generated by traffickers worldwide at the misery of their victims. The victims of trafficking in persons are bought and trafficked to be sold in different places where they are exploited for a wide range of purposes. Every country in the world can be affected by this phenomenon, either as a country of origin, transit, or destination for the victims. Like other regions, the Southern African region is also affected by this crime, and as a result, the number of reported and detected cases gradually increased in Namibia, and it remains a growing concern. The psychological effects it has on victims make trafficking persons generally difficult to detect and to investigate, not only in Namibia, but also in the rest of the world. Victims are usually deceived or forced into exploitative situations, which in some instances are life-threatening. What makes it sometimes a challenging crime to investigate is the fact that victims in some instances form bonds with their exploiters. It is for this reason that Namibia, from the onset, has adopted a multidisciplinary approach to deal with this scourge. We therefore need to continue with our awareness campaigns in our communities and work together in addressing the issues pertaining to trafficking in persons promptly. Director of Ceremonies, ladies and gentlemen, the Combating of Trafficking in Persons Act of 2018, Act number 1 of 2018, which came into effect in November 2019, alongside other relevant pieces of legislation, our national referral mechanism and standard operating procedures for the identification, protection, referral, and safe return of victims of trafficking in Namibia and the Namibian Police Force Pocket Manual on Gender-Based Violence, Child Protection, Trafficking in Persons, and Children in Conflict with the Law are excellent tools for law enforcement in fight against trafficking in persons. These laws and policies are aimed at guiding law enforcement agencies in detecting potential cases of trafficking in persons. Namibia should, however, strengthen her efforts aimed at preventing, suppressing, and prosecuting perpetrators of trafficking in persons. More especially, we should ensure that Namibia regain her status as a Tier 1 country in the fight against trafficking in persons. Therefore, we must not relax, but continue to work hard to intensify our efforts to identify, protect, and assist victims of trafficking, and to prosecute offenders. Director of Ceremonies, to completely meet the objectives of combating of trafficking in persons, Act number 1 of 2018, we need to improve all our efforts to inter alia, train law enforcement and judicial officials on the provisions of Trafficking in Persons Act of 2018, train all actors on national referral mechanism and standard operating procedures to proactively identify trafficking victims, increase efforts to investigate, prosecute, and convict traffickers, and to expand efforts to raise awareness of human trafficking indicators and risks through sensitization campaigns and community outreach, especially in rural areas. We are therefore duty-bound to work on those areas relevant to our domain, which is aimed towards the implementation of Namibia's anti-trafficking action plan. Although significant efforts were made over the years to train law enforcement officials on trafficking in persons, these efforts are hampered by internal staff turnover. The Namibian Police Force, therefore, commits itself to continue with capacity building efforts and to work hand in hand with all relevant partners to train all stakeholders where necessary. The Namibian Police Force will also continue to provide resource persons and participants for the SADC Regional Train the Trainers course on trafficking in persons in the SADC region, which in turn will benefit our members and Namibia as a country. Directors of ceremonies, ladies and gentlemen, based on the recently identified trends, Namibia is currently being used as a transit country for potential victims allegedly trafficked or smuggled through Namibia into neighboring countries. Law enforcement officers, particularly those in regions bordering our neighboring countries, are therefore urged to closely monitor the situation and to maintain close relations with other relevant authorities and stakeholders of such neighboring countries to eliminate this trend. Furthermore, regional commanders in all regions that are sharing borders with neighboring countries are once again reminded to ensure that subcommittees are established to discuss the modus operandi of traffickers and to initiate regular joint border operations to curb the current trends of transnational trafficking of human beings and other related crimes. It is equally important that law enforcement agencies and relevant stakeholders work together to identify, protect, and assist potential victims of trafficking and to bring perpetrators to book. The Director of Ceremonies, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Minister, esteemed Prosecutor General, ladies and gentlemen, statistics may not necessarily be reflective of the entire reality of the situation on the ground. However, we wish to indicate that the Namibian Police Force currently has 101 cases of trafficking in persons on hand, compared to the 86 cases reported in 2022 during the same period. To this end, 26 cases are on control. This is indeed worrisome. Hence, I would like once again sincerely call upon all our stakeholders to remain vigilant and ready to act at all times. In summary, the challenges that law enforcement agencies are faced with remain unchanged. These include lack of proper shelters or services specifically for victims of trafficking, lack of sufficient resources to carry out educational programs, and delays in obtaining evidence from other countries. Despite the above challenges, I would like to reiterate that the Namibian Police Force remain committed in executing its mandate. Allow me to express sincere and immense appreciation to the international, regional, and national organizations and agencies such as the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, United Nations Children Fund, and the International Organization for Migration for their continued moral support, technical guidance, and for the financial support aimed at capacitating the role players in the fight against trafficking in persons in Namibia and elsewhere in the world. The Namibian police force is looking forward to strengthen partnership in our criminal justice system, especially in relation to the prevention, investigation, and prosecution of violence against women and children and trafficking in persons. Allow me also to thank the line ministries and all other stakeholders for their relentless efforts in drafting the national plan of action in combating trafficking in persons. We are looking forward to the full implementation of the plan collectively. Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, our collective and concerted collaboration over the years to combat trafficking in persons in Namibia have proven that we are indeed a winning team which greatly strive towards the successful protection of our society from this evil deed. Let us continue maintaining the spirit of serving our people and our beloved nation without fear or favor. And I thank you.
Yes, another omake for the Chief of the Namibian Police Force. I would like to, since the Chief of the Namibian Police has spoken, I would like still to invite the police band to come and give us one item. I have also want to indicate that the cultural group, or Ipotongo cultural group, please get ready. Yeah, but for now, we want to make the police to conclude in terms of the performance when it comes to, yeah, for the band, yes. Baba kwa ine tatere lo shwampo o ipopiwa isho papop sapa o teika fatululwa ongene natukale ningota atupikine nyela dio detpeni o shashe fimbu tarike spitika tufatulule o ipopiwa ishe. Police band.
Ewa. The next song, it's a song by Kanda Bogomen from DRC, Muchana. A copyright performed by the Namibian police. We do not own this copyright, but in sake of entertainment and to communicate with our brothers from our neighbor here, Angola, we are going to sing the song Muchana. Thank you.
Let me see.
Wamake. Wamake. Number Queenie on the stage. Thank you very much.
Yes, Omake, Omake. That was the police band of the Namibian police. Moving forward with our program, maybe while we are now digesting the song and the performance, I have overheard when the young boy was dancing here from Oshikango, one of His Excellency Ambassador here said, this boy must be from Ghana. And I was wondering, have we done all the necessary check to see if this boy is not trafficked to become a performer here? I hope not. Definitely not. Yeah, but this is very important. It's just a joke for a moment. I would like now to invite to the podium our Honorable Governor, Honorable Valden de Vachia, to come and give us the statement and the introduction of the keynote speaker. Honorable Governor.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. Let me also ask for indulgence and stand on the protocol as established and observed by the previous speakers and to the directors of ceremonies, with the exception of the Honorable Minister, Honorable Dorin Sioka, as well as acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Regional Councillors and members of the diplomatic corps that have joined us in the region. Director of Ceremonies, in the program, it's indicating that I will deliver the statements. However, in the interest of the time, and given the fact that we are all speaking of the same subject, I therefore do not want to bore you with a lot of words. Just a few remarks, just to state that as we are all aware, that Angolan region is a border region, and we are bordering Angola. We are gathered here today at one of our country's entry points, the Oshikango Vernacular border posts, a point of entry into Namibia and from Namibia to Angola. Being a border post, it therefore makes this settlement prone to experiencing higher cases of trafficking in persons. Just a bit of statistics to add from what Deputy Commissioner Makari said. From 2010 to date, a total of 20 cases of trafficking in persons have been reported in the Angolan region, of which 8 cases have been finalized and 8 are on the court roll awaiting trial. 1 case has been submitted to the Prosecutor General for a decision on whether to prosecute or not to prosecute, and 3 cases are currently under investigation. For this year's commemoration, ladies and gentlemen, let me now move on to my second assignment, that is to introduce to you and invite the keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker, who will address us on this day, is no stranger to the fight against trafficking in persons, a form of modern slavery that involves the exploitation of people. She is a renowned figure in Namibia's history, having played a vital role in the country's liberation struggle. She joined SWAPO in 1975 and became the first woman from Zambezi region to engage in armed battles. After Namibia's independence, she became a prominent advocate for gender equality, contributing to the amendment of the SWAPO party's constitution for 50-50 gender representation. Honorable Sioka's remarkable journey in public service continued, leading her to serve as a former Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly and Minister of Labor and Social Welfare. Notably, she held the position of Minister of Gender Equality and Child Welfare, now Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare, garnering recognition with numerous national, regional, and international awards for Namibia's achievement in gender equality issues. In recognition of her outstanding contribution to Namibia's liberation and development, Honorable Sioka was honored in 2021 with the prestigious Grand Commander of the Most Brilliant Order of the Sun, First Class, joining the revered alumni of the Namibian National Honors System. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, please join me in welcoming to the podium our keynote speaker to address all of us today. Honorable Minister, the gathering stands ready to hearing to your address.
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Director of Ceremonies, Ms. Mbombo and Mr. Shilongo. Honorable Valden de Veshia, Governor of Ohangwena Region. Honorable Erickson Ndawanifa, Chairperson of Ohangwena Region Council, Regional Council. Honorable Esther Ndatala Nidimbwa, Councillor of Oshikango Constituency. His Worship Dauras Shaulukeni, Mayor of Elao Nafidi Town. Honorable Regional Local Authority Councillors present here. Lieutenant General Joseph Chikongo, Inspector General of the Namibian Police Force, represented by Deputy Commissioner Amakali, Advocate Martha Imalwa, Prosecutor General, my sister. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. The Dean and Ambassador Jovelyn Imperial Costa, Angolan Ambassador to Namibia, Miss Jane Marine, represented Marine Angolo, Regional Representative, UNODC, Southern Africa, represented by Mr. Brian. I'm sorry for the surname which I missed out. Miss Florence Tumbeko, IOM, Head Office in Namibia. Thank you for your message. Members of the Diplomat Corps, senior government officials, men and women in uniform, distinguished invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. Or it's afternoon now, because I'm caught between the time. Anyway, Director of Ceremonies, the speech I'm going to read, the words I'm going to give today, they are not from me. They are from the Deputy Prime Minister, again the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, who is out of the country for a specific, special mission. So all I'm going to say, they are not from me. When I'll finish is when I'll have mine also, because I cannot leave this podium without saying anything. Director of Ceremonies, I'm delighted to be here today to address you all at this important occasion, commemoration of the World Day Against the Trafficking in Persons. The World Day Against Trafficking in Persons is being commemorated each year on the 30th of July with the main purpose of raising awareness around people who have been trafficked or forcefully taken away against their will. for labor or sexual exploitation. It further helps in reaching out to communities that are vulnerable by providing relevant information on trafficking in persons. Communities are also sensitized that trafficking in persons is a crime and it should be reported to relevant authorities. This day was declared by the United Nations General Assembly in 2013 under the resolution 68-1/192. Realizing that Namibia is not immune to trafficking in person, in 2016, Namibia has joined the rest of the world to commemorate the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. Trafficking in persons has become a huge global modern-day slavery across the world. Sadly, according to the UNODC Global Report on Trafficking in Persons of 2022, approximately 450,000 victims and 300,000 potential perpetrators of trafficking in persons were detected globally between 2003 to 2021. Director of Ceremonies, factors that escalating trafficking in person include global disaster, war conflicts, social-economic inequality, climate change, unemployment, poverty, and displacement of people. This is an indication that member states need to work together to address such issues in order to prevent trafficking in persons by enacting anti-trafficking legislations, creating awareness, prosecute traffickers, and help victims of trafficking, to mention just a few. Ladies and gentlemen, Namibia is committed to the fight against trafficking in persons. Hence, Namibia ratified the UN protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in persons, especially women and children, in 2002. To further domesticate the protocol, Namibia enacted a Combating of Trafficking in Person Act 2018. Section 3 of Combating of Trafficking in Persons Act 2018 covers all forms of trafficking indicated in the protocol. In addition, the Combating of Trafficking in Persons Act 2018 other national laws, including Combating of Rape Act 2000, Prevention of Organized Crime Act 2004, Labor Act 2007, Immigration Control Act 1993, Child Care and Protection Act 2015. To mention just a few again. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the presence of these legal frameworks, Namibian people remain at risk at human trafficking in persons, particularly those who live in poverty, unemployment, have limited access to education, experiencing violence or abuse, and from marginalized people, from marginalized communities. In fact, women and girls and boys are mostly at risk and are trafficked for forced labor and sex work. According to the USA Annual Report on Trafficking in Persons of 2022, Namibia is a source, transit, destination, country for trafficking in persons and other transnational organized crimes. Young Namibians are often recruited from Namibia through agents when we need to come. Oh, whom should I invite now? Governor? Oh. Oh. Sorry. According to the USA Annual Report on Trafficking in Persons of 2022, Namibia is a source, transit, destination country for trafficking in persons and other transnational organized crimes. Young Namibians are often recruited from Namibia through agents or advert in print and social media to different countries for the purpose of forced labor and sexual exploitation. Young boys and girls from neighboring countries are recruited from rural areas for employment in Namibia as street vendors, cattle headers, and domestic workers, which usually turns into forced labor, an act that is prohibited by the Namibian laws. Fellow Namibians, due to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic and other related factors, Namibia faced several challenges in an effort to fully eliminate trafficking in persons. Challenges include limited information on what constitutes trafficking in persons, unemployment, especially among the youth in both rural and urban areas, and victim assistance. To address such challenges, efforts have been made by the government of the Republic of Namibia with stakeholders as follows. Number one, since 2010 to date, a total of 101 cases of trafficking in persons have been reported in Namibia, of which 38 are under investigation, 24 are on the court rolls awaiting trial. 5 have been submitted to the Prosecutor General for her decision, as she was standing here. Number 2, Namibia continued to implement national referral mechanism and the standard operating procedures on trafficking in persons. Number 3, 6 victims of trafficking were identified. Among them were males, females, including children, and were provided with victim assistance. Number 4, during the financial year 2022 to 2023, 10 victims were repatriated safely back to Namibia, back home here to Namibia from other countries. And 10 other victims were repatriated back to their countries of origins, from Namibia to their country of origins. Number 5, providing anti-trafficking training to 35 gender liaison officers, 58 social workers, law enforcement officers, and members of the judiciary. Number 6, finalize the National Action Plan on Trafficking in Persons 2023 to 2027 to be launched today here. That's another step the government have done. Number 7, coordinate national initiative against trafficking in persons through the national coordinating body. Number 8, as a country, we have also intensified I quote, blinded and sold campaign, of quote, currently being aired on NBC radio and television, increasing awareness among the youth in both urban and rural areas. This campaign was developed in partnership with the financial assistance from the US government through the International Organization for Immigration. Number 9, 3 shelters were upgraded to accommodate victims of trafficking in persons. Director of Ceremonies, despite the above mentioned by the government and the stakeholders, there is a need to still do more to protect our people from being trafficked. We must continue to expand our efforts to raise awareness of trafficking in persons, strengthen our laws and enforce mechanisms, and provide better support to victims. We must also ensure that the voices of survivors are heard and that their needs are met. Thus, Director of Ceremonies, thus the theme of this year, I think you heard it, but I have to repeat it. Reach every victim of trafficking, leave no one behind, of course. In the context of trafficking in persons, leaving people behind means failing to end the exploitation of trafficking victims, failing to support victim survivors once they are free from their traffickers, and leaving identifiable group vulnerable to traffickers. I therefore call upon all stakeholders to continue raising awareness throughout the country. We should assess and enhance our efforts to strengthen, prevent, identify, and support victims of trafficking. We need coverage. We need coverage efforts to end this crime. As a country, let us strengthen resilience against exploitation and underline social, economic, and cultural issues that are perpetuating trafficking in persons. We should sensitize communities on trafficking in persons through radio and television programs, make use of both print and social media platforms, as well as by conducting face-to-face campaign in all our communities. By doing so, we will raise the necessary awareness and thus push attention towards those who can make a difference in terms of changing policies to strengthen prevention measures, improving identification of victims, and increase support for survivors. Director of Ceremonies, ladies and gentlemen, to strengthen Namibia's commitment in the fight against trafficking in persons and in leaving no one behind and reaching every victim, I am delighted to launch the National Action Plan on Combating Trafficking in Persons 2023-2027. The National Action Plan was jointly developed by the National Coordinating Body on Trafficking in Persons and the leadership of the Ministry of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication, and Social Welfare. The plan will serve as an implementation tool to Namibia's related programs and the laws such as Combating of Trafficking in Person, Act 2018, National Referral Mechanism, and the Standard Operation Procedures for the Identification, Referral, and Protection of Votes in Namibia. The National Action Plan stems from the wealth of information developed and compiled by the practitioners and experts with intensive field experience working with offenders and victims of trafficking. Its many objectives are as follows. Number one, to ensure the operationalization of the Combating of Trafficking in Person Act 2018 to confront suspicious trafficking in person activities. Number two, to provide the prevention measures necessary for trafficking in person and the protection of victims and the potential victims. Number three, advocate for effective prosecution of perpetrators and create a conducive environment for concerted approach against human trafficking. Number four, ensure the enhancement of knowledge and skills of frontline officers and spearhead campaign, especially to raise awareness about trafficking in person. Director of Ceremonies, ladies and gentlemen, the effective implementation of the National Action Plan would offer votes an opportunity to be free from coercion and deception. It would allow them to enjoy their rights and be able to access psychosocial support, including rehabilitation programs and a safe return. I, therefore, Director of Ceremony, call upon all the Namibian people to be alert and report any potential trafficking cases to the Namibian police force using the toll-free number. This is the number you can call, 10111, 10111. And for GBV helpline is 106 106, that is for GBV helpline. Director of Ceremonies, the Namibian Constitution pertinently set out that life, human dignity, liberty, justice, and pursuit of happiness are cause our aspiration as a nation. The Namibian government remains committed towards its responsibility to ensure the welfare of our people in consistent with the spirit of the Namibian Constitution. Together, we can make a difference in the fight against trafficking in persons. Let us all collectively end this crime against humanity once and for all. Director of Ceremonies, in conclusion, allow me to call on all stakeholders to implement the National Action Plan that we have launched today. We are going to launch today. With this, I thank you. That is the Deputy Prime Minister's speech. It was not from me. Before I call on my colleagues to come and launch this, Director of Ceremonies, allow me, this is the only platform I have to talk to the nation again. Number one, I'm going to address the issue of gender-based violence. Gender-based violence, colleagues, has become out of our hands. As government, we have enacted many laws and policies, but still, these laws ends up in deaf ears. Namibian men. Today, I will include everybody. Because I've been talking about some is just too much with some. This indirect speech will not help us. Namibian men, refrain, stop. Put a stop from killing women and children. When I was in Kigali, I just saw people are sending pictures. Okay, how can you really come up and kill your own family members? You go to poisoning, you poison your family members if you are angry. What is wrong with us? What's wrong with our men? What's wrong with our men? Let's stop this, colleagues. It's not fair. It's not fair in the eye of the Namibian nation. You are just sowing rotten seeds to our young generation. The youth will do the same as you are doing the elders. Fathers, be fathers. Be fathers, stop to be criminals. Be fathers. Look after your children. Look after your wives. Why do we resort of killing? What are we gaining from this blood which we are getting? I've never seen anyone who got rich, because it now will involve the traditional healers, the Ndudus. Maybe they're the one influencing you. The churches also. There are some churches. This one I'll separate. I'll use some churches who are forcing our men that you can get rich if you do A, B, C, D. You kill somebody, your family member, and so on. That's not fair. Let me come to the issue of rape. Raping young girls, raping your own children. You are having the mother in the house, and here you are still raping your own daughter. What's wrong? I'm sorry, if it had the Oshikango could be here, I could have mentioned the big word. I don't want to send you. Commissioner Makari. Arrest them. Arrest them. You have seen how they were demonstrating here. Arrest. When I hear one is arrested, I'm telling you, just call me, you'll hear how happy I am. If a criminal is arrested. A father raping your own daughter. What a heavy machine is this one? Where you desire your own child. I've been telling men in Namibia that women are more than you. What's wrong with that? Why go resorting to your own daughter, raping girls? And we have got children or street kids in the roads there who don't have fathers. And all the blame goes to the fathers. It goes to the fathers who goes and rape, who leaves their children in the home, who rapes their own daughters. I'm sorry, let me take water. I have to weep today. Wherever I go, is only killing, raping girls. Internationally, you go there, you'll find young girls, there are many there. Few Namibians. Because they are victims of somebody, they are ashamed even to go out. Then fathers, as I'm talking now in Oshikango here, something will happen. Or it's already happening. So stop that. Now I come to girls, baby dumping. How can you drop babies? We have been telling you, if you don't want that pregnancy, let it be there. Give it to the Ministry of Gender or give it to the Ministry of... In fact, we have got a unity which is created specifically. We can look after those babies. You remain in your street. Important thing, register yourself that this is my child. When I'll be okay, I'll come and pick up my child. Government will never deny you. I'm speaking as a mother. How do you feel if your mother could have dumped you? And at the end of the day, you don't know your father, you don't know your mother. How could you feel? Girls, refrain from that. Bring the babies to the Ministry of Gender. Don't dump them. Bring them, deliver the baby and say, gender I cannot, or police officer I cannot. Can you take this baby? Or any ministry you find. Or you report to the governor. Or you report to the mayor. Report that I cannot afford to feed this baby. Please, can you have the baby? Government have got the budget for these babies. It's a scandal you are making for yourself. Who will marry you even though you abort? Abortion should be stopped until it becomes a law. But we have got a law already. But you talk. Don't just drop on a live somebody. When I was in Rwanda, there comes a photo on the page I'm part of. A baby, a very healthy baby, dropped there. Shame. We should stop it. Director of Ceremonies, let me thank my mother, Imarwa. Really, your speech was very touching. very touching, and you have spoken, is going to prosecute you guys. Either you commit gender-based violence or human trafficking, or you commit, you will dump a baby, that the lady you will see who will deal with you. Police are here to arrest you again. To arrest you, and they will be alone there. I'm not going to talk to you. Immediately I hear the police have arrested somebody, I'll clap my hands because you have committed a crime. Director of Ceremonies, allow me now, I think I have entered into your time, now to invite the colleagues that we launch, sorry. Maybe Martha, come quickly. It's Mr. Brian, eh? And who? Yes. Yes, I was consulting. I'm inviting the Prosecutor General, Mr. Brian from IOM, and the governor, UNODC, and the governor of this region to join me on the podium. How do we do it? Line us up. Inviting the PG and the governor to witness when we cut off the ribbon. Yes. Our national action plan on combating trafficking in persons 2023 to 2024. The ministry is not sleeping. Any law which comes, we implement, is what we are doing now. This is the document.
Yes, Omake. O Moshuambo o okwalita ku patululwano ileta ku tamekifwa o action plana etu oyo o minister ajano kutumbula hapa ya na shishalisha ningwa hapa okulikeke kucha paife o action plana yo ya milonga oteiduru kulongifwa kukeshe umwe. That was the speech, the keynote address, and the launch of the National Trafficking in Person Plan of Action by Honorable Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwa, being represented by our able Honorable Minister Dorian Sioka, Minister of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare. I now have, first of all, let me also indicate here, we have, in case the nature calls, we have some facilities behind that tent so we can help ourselves. So as on this side, and this is only for the VIP tents, we have also another facility behind this tent. So we were supposed to announce that a bit earlier on. Moving on with our program, we have indicated that the speech of the Honorable Minister will be will be interpreted by one of our colleagues. But before the interpretation, I just want to indicate that Mr. Nginyekwa, please get ready to come and translate. While Mr. Nginyekwa is getting ready for translation, we'd like to invite Oipotongo Cultural Group to come and give us some items, probably maybe one or two. Oipotongo, are you here? Okay, please come forward. Please come forward and omake for them as they are coming here. And I want you to keep it going until they are on the podium. I am saying I would like you to keep it going until they come to the podium. Oipotongo, hurry up. We will be tired of clapping hands if you are not running. Are you here? Or should we call the police band? Oh, okay, hurry up then. Oh, this audience, I said, please keep it going while they are coming to the podium. Yes, Ileni. Okay, now you have the floor, but we are saying Ilenyapa. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much, Oipotongo. Yeah, we are now going to have a brief translation in the vernacular, the language which is spoken around this side. Our apology, but we believe for the benefit of some of our majorities, Mr. Sadrak Nginyekwa is here. He's going to highlight briefly in Oshiwambo. You have the floor, Mr. Nginyekwa.
Yalo, tangi koncha prefe welandula fano, eshi wapange okamito aka, opo ndikenda bale ndikwanya meke oshipopiwa shompopiwa efiku. Ondinekela iteika kwata unene efimbolile lididimikile ingengo vaholike. Ovachapwifi velandula fano meme Martha Mbombo omukulunu wiliki wu ministry wukashikeko kano na tate Fripu Shashilongo omunambelewa omukulunu mombelewa yelelo loshitukulwa shahangwena omufimanekwa meme Doren Sioka omunani wu ministry wukashikeko kano nongalona wa yunona omufimanekwa tate kulu Valde Ndevashia ngolonea oshitukulwa shahangwena omufimanekwa tate kulu Eliksoni Ndawanifa omunashpundi melelo lombelewa oshitukulwa shahangwena omufimanekwa meme Esther Ngidinwa kansela Oshikango ololwa Oshikango tate kulu Lieutenant General Joseph Ashikongo kakukutu wa matanga opolifi anamibia akalelwapo ku tate kulu Commissioner omupanguli wopombada mekulu Malta Imalwa omukalelipo Oshilongo Joveline Imperial Icosta omukalelipo Shilongo wa Angola mo Namibia omukalelipo Shilongo Lendiberry omukalelipo Shilongo wa Amerika mo Namibia meme Jani Ongoro omukalelipo wo Undok ko umbuwanu wa Afrika meme Florence Tumbeko ajakombelewa yo iwana hangano oyo inasha no matembu opashwana omufimanekwa odolopa hela onafidi tate kulu Darius Salukeni nova kwateli komesho ve dolopa dayoloka vaholoka o kansela ve dolopa vaholoka nandifimaneke ovanambele wa membele wa depangelo no moikando ya yoloka vaholoka apa ova endifivelandula fano ondudite etumba mokumpopifa nena mefiku dimbuluko levakepo lovanu munyuni ololili hali dimbulukwa momafiku omilongo natu ayuli keshe omudo opoku anjakanekwe omouyelele momidingonoko nomovanu ovo hava vakwapo vakalongifwe oilonga mbuluma noshoyo okuningwa embwada efiku eli ohali holola yo ovanu kucha evakepo lovanu olo oilonga yo imbuluma efiku eli ola totelwe kongonga yo iwana hangano momudo omaozeja avali nonlongo na natu Namibia okwa waimina oilongo ikwao mokukonjifa oimbuluma eyi mondo omayovyeja avali nonlongo na hamano evakepo lovanu olaninga oshimbide no upika wakula mefimbolonena. Nolopota ya undok, otaiholola kucha lunga ovanu veli pomayovi omafelane no 50 oihakanwa ovaninga oihakanwa ovaningi voikulumuna veli lopomayovi omafeleli atatu ovakonekiwa mounyuni pokati keedula ondomayovi ejavali nanatu nondomayovi ejavali no 21. Evakepolo vanu olakonekiwa talihwahwamekwa koinima ngaashi omakuyungutono itamo unyuni, elunduluko longalo yomepo, oluhepo, okuhena oilonga, nokuhafikifa pamwe omauhupilo momidingonoko. Eshi otashi holola kucha oiwana oyapumbwa kulimanga kumwe opo ilwife okukelela oupyakadi ou nokuhandukila ovalongi voimbuluma ei. Eshi otashi holola kucha okukelela oupyakadi ou nokuhandukila ovalongi voimbuluma ei tashi pitile metoto neeng'ono paleko levetada pamba evakepolo vanu. Namibia okwelilongekida okulwisa oupyakadi ou neveta ngaashi dahololwa nale poshipopiwa shomufimanekwa meekulu netumbo nandi ndeitwa. Nonande ne patulwa eveta dihapu ngaa ova Namibia ong'engo veli ohiakanwa yekwate pomba byona unene tu ovo veli moluhepo mokuhena oilonga inavamona omito yelongo la huma komesho oihakanwa yomaepeko navo vomioko dajatelwa pedu. Omeme no unona unene tu oukadona ovo unene veli oihakanwa shaashi ohavalongifwa oilonga yokeeng'ono nokuya moihulo sieli pahalo lavo. Omushangwa lopoto wa Amerika womondo omayovi ejavali no 22 owaholola kucha Namibia osho ojo yevakeko lovanu okupitila movatumwa nomomashivo pamalungula. Omuvalu muhapu wounona woukadona noumati owadidilikayo unene okuja koitukulwa yokomikunda tavakakonga omauhupilo ngaashi okulifa oimuna, okulandifa momapandavanda nokulonga momoumbo nonande oshakelelwa paveta. Ova Namibia vakwetu oshilongo shataalelwa komashongo tu natango unene aetifwa konkifi owaliko edula mbali dajako COVID-19 na ikwao. Nomashongo otaimbi okukelela nawa evakepolo vanu. Imwe yomomashongo ongaashi okuhena ouyelele, okuhena oilonga nokuhena omakwafo avo vaninga oihakanwa. Epangelo opamwe novakufimbinga valo olakatuka ongatu mokukandeka omaupyakadja nokuja mondo omayovi ejavali nomulongo fiyo onena oimbuluma ili efele noshimbuluma shimwe oyalopotwa mo Namibia. Oimbuluma 33 otaikonaakonwa eshi hatu popi ngaha. Oimbuluma ilyo 24 oyili komangu yateelela epangulo. Oimbuluma 5 oyafika kombelewa yompanguli Njai no imbuluma ijo milongo na tuneine oyatokorwa nale. Oihakanwa omilongo hamano oyapewa omakwafo oihakanwa ijo milongo hamano oyapewa omakwafo. Vamwe valulilwa komaumbo noko ilongo yavo. Ovanambele wave jo milongo na tuna vatano ovapewa omadeulo mokuungaunga no ihakanwa yevake polo vanu. Enele natu do malukalwa do ihakanwa yevake polo vanu oyatulwa pamufika woshinanena. Omauyelele otaanjane kwa ke radio ne TV da NBC moshilongo nondunge faneko yomo milongo yomo ndoma zeja avali no mafeleja avali nanatu nomo taihulile mo mafeledi avali no milongo mbali na tatu mevake polo vanu otaiturwa moilonga pambelewa nena. Omuchapwifi woshivilo nonande epangelo la kendabala engandabala damadu okukandeka oimbuluma eyi onge tu hatupulwa shihapu okuamenenapo ovanu na tutwikile okupashula ovanu okungonopaleka eveta okukonga omikalo dipe nokuyanja omakwafo dingi kwavo vaninga oihakanwa nokukwashilipaleka kutya emumbwe davo odashakenekwa apa tashidulika. Nomolwasho ngaashi nana otema ehuku lefiku elinena taiti tuhadope nande okuhulifapo evake polo vanu no tuhadope mokukwafa oihakanwa konima eshivaja menyala dovahepeki vavo. Ohandipula ovakufi mbinga hatusheni tujaleni onyati mokulwifa enyeko eli na tupashuleni omidingonoko detu okupitila meladio ne TV no memito adishe doikwamalungula opo tukandekeni oimbuluma eyi opo kukwashilipalekwe elitulemo la Namibia mokulwifa evakepo lovanu ondashambukwa mokupitifa ondungefaneko yondo omaveja avali no milongo mbali na natu taifiyo ondo maveja avali no milongo mbali na etatu nena. Ondungefaneko eyi ngaashi yatulwa kumwe kovana wino moipambele yeveta do imbuluma ya nyama kovanu oyalalakanena okwamenenapo ovanu okukelela evake polo vanu okungonopaleka epangulo lovalongi vo imbuluma eyi nokuyanja ewino no unongo kovaungaungi novakomesho vokuyanja omauyelele o enasha nekelelo levakepo lovanu munyuni. Ondungefaneko eyi nge oyatulwa moilonga nawa otaika kwafela oihakanwa mengalo diju omo ili elihanga. Nomolwasho ohandipula omunamibia keshe alopote keshe oshoshanyika oulunga ovanu konomola yopolifi eyi oyimwe onola no yimwe veli vatatu ilo kwai yokukelela omaepeko momumbo oyimwe onola no hamano moukumwe ohatufindana okulwifa evakepolo vanu no auhuninwa ohandipula ovakufi mbinga aveshe vatule moilonga ondungefaneko eyi ngaashi tweipitifa nena apa. Tangi unene.
Thank you very much. Yalo, thank you neneta tenginyekwa. Ondeline kela otapwiki neni nawa, okpafaturula nawa lela isa popiwa kom popiwe fiku. Pa muame weda pweke kucha Minister shashi osho shari osipopiwa shamene tumbo. Minister yo kwa popsa yo vali shasho kwa indila patati ina halana na jepo hapa ina chasha kunye ile kusenyo shuwana. O opwa popsa shinasha no gender-based violence ano o mahepeko ilo imbulu mate inigirwa yu kashike kwa kanu o kweshito mfindo na walela kucha inatu hepeke ni vali o unona no vakulu kadi o shoyongalo o no memina hepeko tate o shwara kuchangao yeta popio vali o shoshinasha nekwatongonga okweshitwa nasho mfindo kucha omakwato engonga na mone hulilo otaka kala hafa ngenge audopolifiteiti oyakwatapo o alongo shimburu mosho tosho nasho kweshitwa mfindo lela sho noshaha uhuni mandala kupopsa pasha popio tati okwekela shi unona vuhanana unona an unene ko vanyasha ukadona ngewa monoka nande inoka pumbwa inokekela shivali ngashita shiningwa o apumbwa okukekalopota nando kekalopota ko polifi ya Namibia opo ili yote itare kucha okano teka ninginge ipi minister shwa popsa ngaho no ichano yo allow me to go back to the official program which is now towards the conclusion, and I would like therefore to invite to the podium our Honorable Chairperson of the Management Committee of our Angolan Regional Council, Honorable Erickson Dawanifa, to come to the podium and give us the vote of thanks. Anoandifa na mfimane kwa Dawanifa, ewe apa, etupe omapandulo shashotoka kehulilo.
Thank you very much, the Director of Ceremonies, for this opportunity to propose the votes of thanks. But I must also indicate here that today is a page of delegation. Since our Honorable Minister was delegated to perform the responsibility of the Deputy Prime Minister, I was also delegated to perform this duty on behalf of the Honorable Minister. With your permission, Honorable Minister, I have accepted the delegation. So, Director of Ceremonies, or Director of the Proceedings, Mrs. Martha Mbombo, the Executive Director of the Ministry of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare, and Mr. Philippus Shilongo, the Chief Regional Officer of Angolan Regional Council, allow me to go through the remarks as vote of thanks as it was prepared in consideration of the protocol that have been put in place. Honorable Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Honorable Doreen Sioka, the Minister of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare, Honorable Walden Devashia, the Governor of Angolan Region, Honorable Esther Ndatalang Hidimbwa, the Regional Councillor of Oshikango Constituency, Honorable Regional Councillors present, Your Excellency Ambassador Jovelyn Imperial Acosta, Angolan Ambassador to Namibia, and Her Excellency Ambassador of Zimbabwe to Namibia in our midst, Madam Kaurura, Mrs. Jane Marie Ongoro, Regional Representative of UNODC, Southern Africa, Mrs. Florence Stumbeko, the Head Office, IOM, Advocate Martha Imarwa, Prosecutor General, Lieutenant General Joseph Shimwelao Oshikango, the Inspector General, Namibian Police Force, represented by the Deputy Commissioner Amakali,
executive directors of different ministries present, regional and local authority present. I have to recognize His Worship the Mayor Darius Alukeni, the chief executive officers of Elau Nafidi Town Council, and other regional and other local authority chief executive officers present, esteemed traditional and church leaders present, senior and junior government officials, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Mawarapotu nawa. Boa tarde. Sí, senhor. Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Governor, our most valued invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to have been asked to give a vote of thanks at this very important occasion, the commemoration of the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. Director of Ceremonies, on behalf of the Minister of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare, I would like to extend a wholeheartedly and deep sense of appreciation to Honorable Netumbo Nandi Deitua, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, for her leadership in fight against trafficking in persons and so many other pressing global challenges. Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, we are all inspired by your great words. Can we give big hands for her? Thank you very much. Honorable Doreen Sioka, the Minister of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare, thank you for delivering the message of the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister. May we give a round of applause for her. Of course, I am also grateful to Honorable Governor Valdin Natangwe Ndebashia, Governor, for welcoming us to your great and green region of Ohangwena, specifically at Oshikango border post. Surely, your hospitality will not go unnoticed because it made this event a successful one. May we give a round of applause to Honorable Governor. Thank you. Director of Ceremonies, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to thank Advocate Martha Imarwa, our Prosecutor General, and the Lieutenant General Joseph Shikongo, Inspector General of the Namibian Police, or Police Force, represented by Deputy Commissioner Makali, for always supporting us in all our possible efforts to combat trafficking in persons. As we have heard in the keynote address, that there were arrests made and cases prosecuted. Colleagues, let us continue with that great collaboration. Furthermore, I would like to acknowledge the presence of our neighbor through the Ambassador Joverina Imeria, a Costa Angolan Ambassador to Namibia. As we are bordering countries, we really need to work together and fight this cause of trafficking in persons. Comrade Ambassador, your presence here signifies that you are ready to partner in fight against this evil. Thank you for being with us today. May we also give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. Director of Proceedings, I also wish to express my gratitude to Ms. Florence Tumbeko, the head of office of IOM Namibia, and Mrs. Jane Marie Angolo, UNODC Southern representative, for your support in implementing our strategies aimed at fighting trafficking in person, and UNODC for providing the financial support in order to develop the National Action Plan on Trafficking in Persons. We will always require your financial and technical support. I am also very grateful to the National Coordinating Body and Technical Working Group on Trafficking in Persons for their commitment and unwavering efforts to come up with strategies and deliberate on quarterly basis to respond to issues of trafficking in persons. May we also give them a round of applause. Let me also thank the Minister of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare, under the leadership of its Executive Director, Meme Martha Mbombo, and everyone who has organized this great commemoration or event. So may we also give them a round of applause. I will also fail in my duty if I do not thank the community of Angolan region for showing their willingness to fight against trafficking in person. Your presence at this event is a testimony of your commitment and readiness. As a member of the community, you are the eyes and ears to report suspicion of trafficking in persons to the relevant authorities. Honorable Minister, with your permission, allow me also to thank the following entertainment groups. To thank the Ipotongo Cultural Group, the Oshimwaku Combined School Cultural Group, the Nampol Brass Band, as well as men and women in uniform, those who have depicted the parade before this event. So we want to say thank you very much to you. So what you have presented and depicted during this event is a very prestigious one, and thank you very much. May we give them a round of applause. I don't want also to fail my duty if I do not thank the people who have been in front of this activity to combat this trafficking in persons, the current commissioners and the commissioners retired. You have been doing great work, and we want to thank you very much for that good work that we have been doing. So may we give them a round of applause. So, ladies and gentlemen, forgive me if I did not thank everyone enough for their involvement and their willingness to take on the fight against trafficking in persons beyond their comfort zones. So therefore, all of you, you have received a warm vote of thanks from this desk of chairmanship and director of ceremonies that what you have done during this event is a great one. So as I conclude, I assure you that if we fight together, trafficking in persons will be a thing of the past. Therefore, Director of Ceremonies, Madam Mbombo, and Comrade Philip Shilongo, I finally want also to thank you for navigating this boat to the last destination. It was a very, very inspiring directing of the ceremony. With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and I wish you safe journey back to your destinations. Thank you.
I would like to start by thanking the chairperson for thanking the directors of the proceedings. That's very selfish, ne? Okay. Thank you, Honorable Chair. We are almost at the end of our program. I have few announcements. Announcement number one. There's a request for our members of the diplomatic corps, our High Commissioner ambassadors that are here present to to humbly, we actually humbly request them to come forward to somewhere here, so that at least the public here will see them, and will only accord a minute or two to each of them just to say their names and the countries where they come from. That was a special request extended to you, Your Excellency. And if you don't mind, it would be appropriate if you can just come to the podium just for a second, your name, the country you represent, and then you respectively take your seat. And then we continue with the rest of the few announcements that we would like to do. With your permission, you have the floor, Your Excellencies.
Good afternoon. Boa tarde, bom dia. Tá tudo bem? My name is Juvelina Imperiali Costa. I am Ambassador of Angola and Republic of Namibia. Muito obrigada, thank you very much. And name of the African Group of Ambassadors. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone here. My name is Dr. Tehemen Tazo, Nigeria High Commissioner to Namibia. Thank you all.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yakubu Alhassan, High Commissioner of Ghana to Namibia. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Bonjour, tout le monde. My name is Lori Angaino. I'm the ambassador from the Republic of Congo, Brazzaville. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Special recognition to the high table. My name is Akatuka Stephen. I'm Zambia's High Commissioner to the Republic of Namibia. Good afternoon.
Okuhepa. I'm Michael Sialai, Kenya High Commissioner to Namibia. Asante sana.
Good afternoon, Namibia. My name is Ambassador Melody Chaurura, Ambassador of the Republic of Zimbabwe, and congratulations to Namibia on the launch of this TIP action plan.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Elias Tamba, Acting High Commissioner of the United Republic of Tanzania to the Republic of Namibia. Asante sana.
Wow, merci beaucoup, asante sana. So let us give them a very big hands. Thank you, Your Excellencies. Yeah, you may take your seat. So with that, the last announcement. And I'm going to say this in Oshiwambo, but my o ile landura fanotali shikula ne lilingaha o ovafimane kwa mulio ntumba pete ndapo nanye ovo mwafika makombinga kwinya o palonge kidwango ume vatalala nde otala ne mukaleike muli apa muli opo avata akadura kumpume vatalala vempe asike ume vatalala pipundieni Nyava muliofika na tango poka tikete nda penya. O atuke mpulango ngalo mukare mwama nando mbingai ile mbingi kwa inyo papa kareta puduru kupitwa Otundi teiko nawa. Ya ava tuli nyon tumba atukarenye kwa mitumba patuli. Omanga ovafimane kwa ava veli motendai. Otava ka ulikirwango kuchotava kukangaro potende inyilipe. Ovanambere wavetu veli mo uniforma. Ndiwete kucha nanye otankape wakucha otamu yakurwanga helipi. Mela karita litakumane, the announcements are as follow. We are humbly requesting our members of the public to remain seated where you are, and you'll be served with some refreshment where you are. We know it might not be that easy, but please, we want and we are humbly requesting you to provide your usual cooperation so that we see how we can provide what is prepared for you. Members in uniform, you will also be served, and we'll be informing you as to how we can take care of that one. And then the dignitaries in the main tent, you will be served on this tent here. Of course, with the lead from the high table, we will then proceed through. High table and our high commissioners and ambassadors, and then the rest of the members can join the other tents. Having said so, we would like to, of course, there will be some photo shooting, but I think that will be done after the AU and the national anthem. And I therefore now invite our policy band to lead us through as we sing our AU and national anthem. And therefore I exit. Thank you very much.